by the time it got to this edge, because it started up here and got up, basically, it was just, these are solid colors from Illustrator.
Yeah. One of the things I'm trying to do with these digital printers is to combine them with more traditional techniques. So for example, this is a sheet of mylar that was printed out on the design winder, and you can see it's on transparent paper. And one of the things we can now do with this is either burn a photographic lithoplate or a silkscreen. So it's run through the printer and then screened and then run through the printer again. And you can build up quite an interesting layer of effects. Everybody can understand finger painting and the kinds of gestures that you can get just by moving paint around. But the resolution is really so much superior to typical kinds of digital output. So one of the real efforts I've been trying to make is to be able to try to combine the semantics of gestural printmaking with digital printmaking. The difference in terms of color when you compare dye-based inks with pigment-based inks, and I think this is a pretty good example of it. The colors are much more intense and come closer to what you're seeing on the screen when you use dye-based inks. The pigment-based inks are much more subdued, but the other critical issue is that the dye-based inks do not last as long as the pigment-based inks. So the archival quality of the pigment-based inks is one of the things that interests us as printmakers. One of the other key elements in my work is thinking about time and how you can represent time in a flat printed surface. So these, I did quite a few pieces that have to deal with this sort of column structure, and each one of these columns represents a point in time and then a transition. So here you see this particular square goes through a series of filters and transitions as it moves from left to right or right to left, however you want to read it. But each column does as well. So there's a process of metamorphosis which takes place in a print like this. But here you have a combination of real-world objects and objects which were generated in the computer. And one of my principal interests, again, is to track the similarities between patterns in nature and patterns in the computer.